Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spin Rack, and we also have
Calvin Ellis, ready to rock.
today we are doing our review on Across the Spider-Verse. Um, any what do you say, sir?
Good. That was a 9 out of 10.
I'm not gonna
If you
give
haven't
it.
seen,
Oh, sorry, keep
if you
going.
haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Go see it.
For me, it's a whole lot of fun. It's stuff is gorgeous. I do have some issues with identity stuff and the
Identity politics or the secret identity.
secret identity and some of the stuff with the fixing and or destroying the multiverse type of thing, which and people lying, that sort of stuff, all that stuff that was in kind of the same vein of the secret identity. That was kind of bogged some of the stuff down. But first and foremost, Lego Spider-Man killed it. I was like, this is the closest we've gotten to the regular Spider-Man since ever. It was the highlight for me. But otherwise, animation wise, it was still just as amazing as it was before. They added a lot more stuff to it because I've seen animation similar to it in some of the stuff on Netflix, and they upped the ante just another level. So um, but some of the characters struggling with someone lying type of deal was kind of the hard part. But basically we see our Gwen, Spider Gwen. She joins this group of ragtag spider people to kind of police this sort of the police the multiverse, and she tries to get a getaway to meet her old person, her old crush, to see Miles, and that leads to him wanting to join them, but at the same time, there's reasons why he cannot, and it's kind of possibly changing the verse and get all this history of it. But at the same time, we get a lot of action, a lot of fun, nutty Spider-Man characters, a lot of bits in here. I don't think there was any of the extra end scenes, but otherwise, it was a lot of fun. What else do I want to say about it? I did have issue also with the fake grounding. Grounded for a month. Next thing you know, he's on a rooftop. Like, wait a second. His is black and Spanish descent, and he's getting off a punishment that easy because he's with a girl. Nah, sir. Nah, that ain't how it's supposed to go. But it's animation, so another month type of deal. So, any other thoughts? Anything else you want to say about it?
Uh, well, let me go with the good stuff before I get into the bad stuff I can talk about always for much longer. But again, some real top animation. The those sequences when they have when Miles is moving, or even that sequence when it's him and Gwen moving, they do such a good job of animating this to the point like you're the one traveling, you're the one doing the web spinning, doing going swinging from building to building, doing the flips, navigating these little narrow places and still making it by the skin of your teeth. Do such a good job with that, and that's the experience you're supposed to have watching these characters, especially when you're doing animation, because you can do a whole bunch of stuff that you cannot do with CGI and live action. So I thought that was really good. The I mean, the flow of the story from where we left off with the last one and coming into this one, it's like they didn't miss a beat, hit the ground running. They threw in every type of spider character. They even had the Spider-Man popsicle in there. I was just like, okay. I was like, but I actually enjoy the fact that they do when they do stuff like that, and they don't run just ashamed of anything that came before. Like, it's all good. We can use this. We're not necessarily going to. It's not necessarily going to look the same, or we're going to do it the same way. But we don't get to this point with this particular character without all of these things, coming from here. And so, just like having a lot of fun with it. Voice acting, very good on all fronts. Uh, I think the spot is, I don't know if that was some meta commentary on the villains, But the Spot comes back. Miles isn't paying attention to him. He's over here warming up a beef patty, and then he's gonna like fight. He's like, "Oh, this guy's no big deal." He's like, "No, I'm gonna go, and when I come back, I'm gonna be a villain that you're gonna have to take seriously." And it seems like the only way you can take a villain seriously is they're gonna have to be able to like threaten reality. Those are the only villains who can be taken seriously. But that really does seem to be it. I mean, that's those unless it's somebody who's gonna wipe out half of the universal population, or just totally wreck reality. These guys are bums of the month at the end of the day. So I don't know if they meant that in terms of some meta commentary right there, but that's like that is something that I've seen continuously with these films. You have the guys who are real threats, and then everybody else, they're gonna die. Those guys are MODOK. They're just there for one film. We're gonna kill them off. No big deal. Even if it is the Red Skull. But the again, just very, very well executed, very tight, really good, really tight story. Enjoyed that, and then with just a really, really, fun shot seeing it. 9 out of 10, and with the one, I don't like to be continued. I never have. By the time I came into the theater at 6:30, I looked, I checked the time. I was like, wait a minute, it's 9 o'clock. I was like, this movie's gonna go on for another hour. I was like, no, they're gonna do this to me. No, no, no. Yep, to be continued. And no after credit scene, so you're just gonna have to wait. I was like, this sucks. I was the only guy yelling bullshito in the theater. Well, probably was the only person who felt like that. But they'll be back next year, March. God willing, I'm around. I see it. Get connected with
God
them.
willing.
Yeah. But then you got I mean, the stuff that you're saying the stuff that I didn't care for, it's like I don't care for it, and it's such a minor thing at the end of the day, but they keep doing it, and it becomes such a pet peeve, like just such like a literally a thorn that you just can't get to, unfortunately. With the I just don't understand what they have against secret identities and why they keep drilling this particular narrative. This is the narrative that they keep going with, that you're not supposed to have a secret identity because you're lying to people, and it's not good to lie to people, even though people lie to each other all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And they're not Spider-Man. Okay? Hey, did you go to school today? Yes. Hey, whose baby is this? It's yours.
Mhm.
Okay? It's not Spider-Man. You're not Spider-Man at the end of the day. And I've always taken a witness protection program approach to the secret identity. Okay? You have to keep this particular secret, because if not, it's going to not just affect you, but anybody close to you as well. And if there's somebody new who comes into your life, if you used to be John Smith, okay, and now you're Henry Holloway, you can't afford to trust this person, because you don't know if they're trying to get close to you to find you as this particular thing. And everybody else becomes suspect the moment that this secret gets out. The way that they play it is like, oh, you should have never done this in the first place. It's always like cart before the horse. You should have told everybody you had this, and then you're going to go out, and anybody close to you deserves to know. And after a while, it just gets ridiculous. Your roommate at university, or rather not university, your roommate at school knows. Why does he know? Simply because they don't want to be bothered. Well, how do we get him in here without his roommate knowing? His roommate knows, and that's pretty much the end of it. It's like, this guy isn't supposed to know.
Well, he has the invisibility. Why can't he just be invisible? He needs to go back into the room, and they can do their gags that they normally do. And
even better, why does he need a roommate?
he doesn't. That's the other thing. You don't need a I would just chime in on that portion of it, is that they putting themselves where the character didn't amount to anything. I don't need Ned in the Spider-Man movies, but this character netted out to less than that. So it's like, well, why is he there? He said, well, can't be a roommate, not like, come on, it's asking too much. His parents knowing, the parents basically are the ones. That's the whole point in having Aunt May. Like, Aunt May and her disliking Spider-Man gives you less reason to be like, oh, Spider-Man's doing a great job. So she would just be someone to pat him on the back. And it's just like, let's not play. Let's play to what Marvel was doing. Marvel took the Secret Identity and they, outside of Captain America, they did as much fun as they could with it. The bodyguard, the twin brother, Spider-Man being, taking pictures and being the guy. Like there's so much aspects where he gets revealed, and you like people are like, why would you become Spider-Man? You're just a kid, a puny kid. It's like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done it. It's like we don't know that Peter Parker was sick and his power kind of went away for some reason. So it's like they had fun with it. So have fun with the secret identity, not just immediately say you lied. And if you're gonna play that angle, play the angle is like you could die. Like that's why your parent would be against it, not being like the Hollywood, you lied to me and you're not supposed to lie.
If you tell your folks you're not going to be Spider-Man,
Yeah, there you
okay,
go.
it's they're not gonna do it. You're not gonna come home all beat up, with your battle damaged outfit, and your mom or your dad sees this, and they're like, "Well, we know you got to go out there and save the city," and they're just gonna watch you swing out with their fingers crossed. I'm like, hell no. And it seems that people would rather have parents who are willing to have their child or their loved one go out there, reckless endangerment if it's a kid, just hoping for the best if they're of age, as long as they know the secret, then it's okay. Then it's okay. Otherwise, it's not. It becomes all this other nonsense. And like you can't have it. Well, that's the way that they're going with it. It just really annoys me because then it everybody becomes reactionary, but the reaction is always the same. It's methodical, like a supervillain. I have something bad happen in my life. I'm going to take it out on everybody else every time. Every time at the end of the day, the folks are always going to react like this. The girlfriend's always going to react like this. And I'm like, and for me, again, it's very transparent as a writer. You don't want to write this. You don't want to write the secret identity. You think it's stupid. You think it's needless. And so that's where it goes. The only characters who really seem to circumvent this is Peter Parker as Spider-Man and Superman with Clark Kent, because those guys, because their archetypes and their secret identities are coessential to that character functioning, with an audience. That's how you connect to Spider-Man through Peter Parker and Superman through Clark Kent. So the moment that everybody knows, you pretty much can just have this guy in a suit all the time, or just have him swinging around as Peter Parker, and you're really in trouble at the end of the day. But the rest of the guys, they just, I don't know. I would love to do if they would just take some writing 101 and say, hey, look, this is a comic book. It's actually well written. You don't know any better than these guys. These guys are writers too. They understand this particular form, and you are incredibly dismissive of it. Have you ever read any of the stories as to what happens when this gets out? Oh yeah, we read it, and we'll still screw it up, like they did with Daredevil season 3 on Netflix, where the secret gets out, and then he sees how much damage it does, and then he takes off his mask in front of the Kingpin. Yeah, it's me. No, you're more.
Yeah.
If you have plausible deniability, you run with that. This guy is dangerous when it comes to having this particular secret. Why would you do something like that? This isn't some schoolyard where you're like, I'm gonna come over here and thump my chest. No, absolutely not. But hey,
Well,
like I said, pet peeve, and I can go on for hours about it.
well, they kind of messed up with, hey, we're gonna do the Defenders. He's gonna show up and he got to put a scarf on his head. It's like, no. If he's gonna meet up with them, put on the freaking outfit. He said, well, no, he can't carry. Like, no. That's not how it works. You don't waste any time struggling to say where does he put his costume type of thing. That's what I was kind of I had issue talking about with Iron Man. I said, why can't he have a suitcase? And my friends were like, no, that's ridiculous. Him in the suitcase, this, that, and the other. Second one, they throw me the football. And the suitcase, they redid it. It was like saying, I wasn't asking them that it has to be a freaking Samsonite suitcase. Like, just do whatever visually makes it strong. Like, have fun with it. And that's what they did. But saying you can't do it and having the fans say, oh, there's no chance you could do that type of deal is just like waste of time. And going to the other thing is like, if you're going to spend, even though it is, making the spot Earth, being able to shatter the Earth type of deal, shatter the multiverse, but the idea is there. It's like saying, hey, this character has some abilities. If Spider-Man can utilize his abilities to the best of his abilities, shouldn't the villains also be that? That goes to the Neil Adams adage of no bad characters, just bad writers. And one of the things that people have gotten into, I think even classic writers like Roger Stern, is like, hey, Spider-Man's here, and he's here to dance around these villains, right? And it's like, no, no, no. Like the villains are there to be like the only ones that he was dancing around when the creators got tired of him, like when they started to hate Craven. And it was like Craven, the initial thing is like, no, Craven isn't just going toe to toe to Spider-Man. He's poisoning him. He's putting this contraption so his arm is connected to his leg, like it magnetized to his leg. He's cheating. He's a matador. He's cheating. So that's the hook of what you're doing. You're not sitting around trying to say, well, if Spider-Man punches this guy, he'll be out in 2 seconds. So let me just do that. No. Have fun. Don't run it. And I think what they did, they went as cosmic as the last one, where the Kingpin creates this sort of thing. But ultimately, it works in the angle of no bad characters. Like utilize these guys, have fun with them, not just have Spider-Man dance and do jokes around these guys.
Well, again, this goes back to the meta commentary at least that's what I thought they were doing in the film, where the only villain that matters is the one who can destroy reality. The other guys, nah, he's not. Just punch him. Like I don't know who was the first person to do this, like where the hero shows up and it's supposed to be one of his like regular, foes, and he just kind of dispatches them within like a few seconds, or he dispatches like three of them in a few seconds. And it's like, okay, so these guys showed up, so we know that these are his villains, and then we just go on with the rest of the stuff. Like, really, and he's like these aren't like some throwaway one-time villains or some guys who came out, like the Kangaroo, and we never really saw them again. They'll do this with like a major, okay, this is supposed to be a major Spider-Man villain. Nah, we don't really want to be bothered with him. He doesn't animate well. Just get rid of him. But that way we can see Spider-Man doing his thing. At the end of the day, it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating as a longtime reader and viewer to see that's their approach to it. But again, longtime pet peeve.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's what the struggle was at Marvel when they had what's that guy? The Justices Served guy was killing everybody, killing all the lame villains at Marvel. Yeah.
Oh, well, with the no. Now I was thinking Acts of Vengeance, but that wasn't it. I know what you're talking about though. The guy was like, I can't remember his name though.
So he basically, what's the name, was on this terrible thing of saying, hey, Marvel got all these lame villains, let me just kill all of them. So all across the Marvel universe, people were just doing scenes where they would kill these lame villains. And one of the things that, one of the bad things is like, I always go to, he wasn't a part of it, but the death of Tarantula. We have Tarantula has this great costume. Like it's a great costume, and someone woke up and saying, this is just some like Mexican lame villain. So next time he fights Spider-Man, I'm gonna have him beat the hell out of him, but then he goes to become super powerful and he's gonna take the serum, but the serum's gonna just turn him into a big spider with a freaking comb, like a comb over. Like he still got the regular hair. It's just like, good lord. Like you had a cool villain, you turn him into a monster that he still can't hit Spider-Man. And then next thing you know, he falls off a building, and that's the end, right? And then what does Marvel do? Hey, that costume's too cool. Let's bring another one back. So that's one of the things that you have to remember when you decide, hey, this guy's, I want to, get rid of this guy with a bang. And the next thing you know, someone looks and says, that's a great costume. Let me bring this character back, where you don't have to initially say, well, how is he able to fight Spider-Man? Maybe he does have some powers. Maybe he got some powers. You do a backstory where he has some powers so he can at least survive a fight with Spider-Man. They're like, nope, he's just human. He's diving and he's got his feet towards Spider-Man. He's got to have something. Nope, no powers. So the what's the name? The official handbook. hey, here's old Spider-Man built. The kangaroo, he can only lift 500, 500 pounds. What? What do you mean? The Man Mountain, he can lift 1,000 pounds. It's like, wait a second. The fight they had, he looked like he was tougher. Nope, he's lame. So we got to make him even lamer type of deal. Whereas, I think a good approach. It didn't have to be cosmic, but I mean, in this realm, with Across the Spider Verse, I think they're having fun with it. So I can give them a pass on it. So, but yeah, they did so much other good, utilizing these characters. Even the Kingpin in the first one, where like they just said, "Yo, he's a heavyweight. He's a heavyweight that can go toe to toe with Spider Man." You're not playing this game of the Marvel official handbook thing. But we don't have no powers. So yeah, I mean, but ultimately, it was a great experience in the movies, and I felt the same in the first one, even though it got bogged down with some this identity stuff. But ultimately, it was a fun thing. Can't wait for the next one, and because it was that was the good twist that was at the end where he does the reveal to his mother, and it doesn't work out the way he planned. So yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, you finally did something different with it, but we're
Yeah,
leaning. We're training towards him revealing himself to a parent. What were you about to say?
So yeah, get that out of your system and now leave it alone.
Yeah. All right then. So, any other words? Anything else?
No, again, a lot of fun. Especially if you're a kid, you can just like really get engrossed into this. I don't know what they're doing with the comics right now, but you can really just engross yourself into this. You can keep coming back to it. Just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I mean, the stuff that I'm hemming and hawing with you about is just stuff that I've seen over years, and it's just annoyed me in terms of the approach, even within the blame Bendis, but even in the comics, at the end of the day, with some of the stuff that they do. But 9 out of 10. The stuff that bugs me, but there's a lot more to enjoy. A lot more to enjoy than there is to be annoyed about.
All right then. So, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. And next year, we want everyone lined up to see the next one. Spin a rack.
Out. Oh no, again. Scourge of the Underworld.
Yeah, you got it in there.